Hi everyone, welcome to ODDCAST Movies, Music and Gaming. I hope everyone's doing well. Today, as with every day on this podcast, I have with me my very special guest, and he's special just because he is special. It's Dan, Dreadful Dan. Hello.
Yeah, special through and through. That's what they've always said.
Exactly.
It's good
Top
to have
down,
you
back to
confirm
front.
it here for the masses.
Exactly. Special to me,
How are you
at
doing?
least. Yeah, good. I'm okay. How are you doing?
I'm good. I was just enjoying our little chat before we got recording. A few things been winding you up lately. Potentially this. The
Potentially this
subject
film.
of today's episode. Yeah, the
Yeah,
many saints of Newark.
the many saints of you. I've really I've got, I've set the tone already before we even started by just being annoyed. But yes, this is a very recently released movie based upon the Sopranos TV series, Many Saints of Newark. Let's have a listen to it a little bit.
When I was a kid, guys like me were brought up to follow codes.
Hey, jerk off. What'd you say?
What? Antonio Soprano.
I wonder if I can talk to you alone for a moment, Mrs. Soprano. On the basis of the Sanford Binet, he's high IQ.
You can't prove it by me. He's got a D+ average.
Well, he doesn't apply himself.
Bum bum. Tony Soprano is Tony Soprano. He did well at school. Bum bum. His mother's still a penis. Bum bum.
You hit all the right beats on this. That was a great little. I mean, you don't need to watch the film now. It's all there.
Exactly, it's all there. So Dan, before we get into the film itself, let's talk a little bit about the context of which. Now, coming to this film, we discussed this beforehand. You haven't seen Sopranos. Is
Not a
that
single
correct?
minute.
Not a single minute. Are you aware of what Sopranos is about? Have any idea anything about it?
I know it's got a logo with a gun in it.
That's true.
Generally about mafia goings on, shenanigans, and the like.
Yes. So that's good. Did you know anything about this film before you watched it?
No, haven't heard a single scrap of information about it. So it just plopped out of the blue into my Netflix, and then into my eyes, and into my brain, and then through my system and out into the toilet.
Yes, out the toilet. Yes. So I am a big Sopranos fan. It might be my favorite TV series of all time. If it's not my favorite, it's definitely up there. I watched them all very recently.
Okay.
So I sat through. There's 6 series, so the 6th series is like double the length of episodes of the other ones. But so 6, say 7 series.
When was it broadcast?
And so I think it started in 99, and then it went on till whenever that was, like 2006, 2007, something like that. And it was a big deal at the time. What people sometimes seem to forget is that this is kind of Sopranos is widely seen as the first TV series that brought in the golden age of TV. So where films, nothing wrong with films, but where TV started to get a lot more, it got a lot more serious. It started to get a lot more, it looked more filmic. It had, the writing was a better quality. You could do more with it, because at that time you just had all like the network shows and sitcoms and things like that. But HBO took a punt basically and made The Sopranos, which wanted to kind of break all the rules of TV. And if it wasn't for Sopranos, you wouldn't have all those people went on to do other things like Boardwalk Empire, Mad Men. You're able to do stuff like Game of Thrones. A lot of people went on to do that, etc. So it's kind of seen as like the beckoning in of like real TV, like that. Is what makes it so popular today. Whatever. It's basically Sopranos is about Tony Soprano, who is a mob boss, and essentially it's about his kind of day-to-day life. But the whole kind of initial premise anyway was that he's going to a shrink. So that was kind of like the whole idea. He's a big mob, like what happens when the gangster goes to a shrink, and all this. And he's got his own family, and literally his personal family, and then he's got his other family, which obviously the mafia and all this. So that's the kind of general premise. Now that all happened. There's, I guess, like the one thing that I just want to call out about Sopranos is that the writing is really good. Watching it back, it actually felt more like a comedy than anything else. Like it's actually very funny. There's like a joke in almost every scene, and the way they talk to each other and all this stuff, and the characters and everything. But yeah, it's genuinely exciting. It's great. It's well thought out, and there are cool like abstract stuff. There's a reason. There's reasoning behind every line, every scene, and all this. It's not always like apparent. There's like a real deeper kind of thing going on. And so anyway, love Sopranos. Always thought it was really great. So that ended. They've always talked about a sequel. James Gandolfini died, who played Tony Soprano.
Mm-hmm.
And so instead they've done a prequel, which is about young Tony Soprano, but the main guy is a guy called Dickie Montesanti. Montesanti, have I said that right? Montesanti, sorry. In English, it actually is Many Saints. That's what it's Italian for. So hence, Many Saints of Newark, Montesanti, blah, blah, blah. And he is Christopher's father, Christopher being one of the main people in Sopranos who looks up to Tony. And Tony treats him like his son, and even though they're not related by blood, blah, 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 he's actually Carmela's cousin, whatever, and all this stuff, but it's all kind of incestuous in that way. So this is supposed to be about Dickie Montesanti and the kind of rise of, who he is, because they talk about him during the series, what goes on, and set against the race riots basically during the 60s. So that's kind of all I knew about it going in. The trailers showed Michael Gandolfini, who's Jim Gandolfini's son, playing young Tony Soprano. And I was like, he looks like him. That's pretty cool. Sounds a bit like him. That'll be funny to watch. And then I watched the film, and in one sentence, I really didn't like it for many, many reasons. But I will go into that. But I want to know from someone who's not seen Sopranos, someone who's just going to come in and think, okay, I'm just going to watch a gangster film for a couple of hours or whatever. Yep. What did you think?
I didn't enjoy it. I thought it's 2021. Do we really need another run-of-the-mill gangster film? Why is America so obsessed with these? It really, to me, it was just full of kind of 2D mafiosa characters, bland, cliched dialogue that I've heard 100 times before in other similar films.
Yeah.
So just the premise of that alone made it quite boring. I sat there and I thought, this can't be what The Sopranos is like. I imagine there has to be something more going on with that. But here, it just felt very rote and very run of the mill. Then really at the end, I kind of thought a big problem here is that they have failed to tell a story.
Yes.
So again, I was conscious of the fact that this needs to be kind of understood maybe in the context of the series, but if you don't already have that sort of love interest fandom with these characters, there's not a lot to kind of latch onto. Are they telling the story, as you said, of this guy Dickie? Because if they are, then they fail to do so, in my opinion.
Mm.
And we can go into more detail about that kind of arc.
Yeah.
Are they telling the story then of Tony Soprano, in which case he's far too marginalised? And then they also sort of, like you said, there's the backdrop of the race riots, so they tuck in this kind of story there about this guy who's kind of clawing his way up. But that all feels quite cynical, actually. Like they've just tried to graft that on to appease the current climate. And then it's all kind of framed really strangely with a narrative from a dead guy who you never see mentioned or referenced at all in the film. So he opens it and closes it, and I was just like, I was kind of thinking, they could have focused this on the Dickie character and maybe had Tony as the narrator, and that would have been a more straightforward, simple story. And let's just follow that. But it was just a bit messy and confusing. And like I said, no real satisfying kind of character arc for anyone. No real character development.
No,
so it was just like, here we go, hum dum, dibbly bum. Kind of know where this is going. Some gangsterish mafiosa kind of stuff happens, some of which was fun and entertaining. But yeah, all in all, just not a lot to kind of get excited about.
Well, it's extremely forgettable. To be honest, I completely 100% agree with everything that you said. And it's interesting to hear like an outsider's perspective, because I think part of the problem, a big part of the problem, is that they were feeling like, well, apparently there were reshoots. And I imagine that it was the studio asking for more fan service. Like bring in more of the characters that we've already seen, hence more young Tony that doesn't go anywhere. And I think that's the main problem, is the whole thing. There's multiple, it feels like it should be a prequel TV series or something that they've tried to squeeze in, and like nothing goes anywhere. Like me and my wife were sitting there, and over halfway through, I'm just like, I'm so bored. I have no idea like what I'm supposed to be like following. Like I don't know what the story is. I don't know what's going on, really, to be honest, apart from this Dickie guy. So apparently as well, like David Chase, who created The Sopranos, I mean, he was old then, he's even older now, had a heart attack during the making of this, and I think had to like step out. And I always thought it's really weird that he's like said that, and then there's part of me that thinks, is it because he realizes the film is a bit shit? Because it's like he's got a fucking, he's a smart guy. Like surely he was looking at, I don't know, and then who knows?
Are you saying he faked a heart attack?
No, not he faked it. As in, like the heart attack was real, but as in, like you normally wouldn't have to have you'd be just endorsing it or saying like I'm involved. But the fact of being like, well, I had a heart attack during the it's like,
are you
that
saying
makes
he
it sound like
brought on
he's
a heart
using
attack?
it. No,
he
I'm saying that
intentionally
it sounds as if he
overexerted
knows.
himself, ate fatty foods.
He might have done. I mean, that's what Gandolfini did. So
just to disassociate himself from this project.
But he's the face of it. So and he's everywhere, like talking about it. So he must love it. I should say as well, like it's directed by Alan Taylor. I'm not a big Alan Taylor fan anyway, to be honest.
What kind of stuff's he done?
Well, he did Sopranos, if I remember rightly, like back in the day. Done a lot of TV. So yeah, he did a few Lost. He did a few Sex and the City. I've just got him up on here. He did one Lost, not a load. He did 9 episodes of Sopranos. Did 4 episodes of Mad Men. So he did lots and lots of TV. And then he's kind of like his big like breakout movie was Thor: The Dark World, which is pretty much widely seen as the worst Marvel film in the entirety of it. It's Thor 2, basically. It's very serious, it's very boring, it's very drab, had nothing to it, and it kind of, everyone was a little bit worried when that came out, because they were like, this is quite early on in the MCU, and they were like, oh, this isn't very good. But then he went on to do Terminator Genesis,
Oh
which I
Lord.
don't know if you've seen. Do you remember it? And that's the one where John Connor is a Terminator. Do you remember that?
Do I remember it? Have I? Sorry, is that you're saying that's the fourth or the fifth?
Oh, mate, I've no idea. It's the one where
I think it's the fifth.
it might be the fifth. Like, so you had Terminator when they go where it's in the future, and it's got Christian Bale.
Yeah.
Salvation, I think that's called.
Yeah.
And this was the next one, and this is where you see, he goes back, and it's the whole events of Terminator 1 again.
Yes.
But
Yes. I saw it
time's
on a
fucked
plane.
up.
I remember
Right.
now.
So he directed that, and I didn't like it, but I remember I found it quite enjoyable to watch, even though I thought this is stupid.
Yeah, I think that's how I felt about it. I was like, there we go, go blobby. But I was like, oh, it was all right. It was better than,
exactly.
I think more enjoyable in some ways than 3 and 4.
Yeah, it was, stuff happened. There was always something happening, whether it made sense or was any good or not. And then he went on to do 7 episodes of Game of Thrones. So he's got a bit of cred behind him. But this was his first film, I believe, since Terminator Genesis. So, oh God, where do I go from this? I guess, should we go into the plot a little? Should we take a break, go into the plot a bit, discuss what actually happens, and then we can just fucking rip it apart? How does that sound?
That sounds thoroughly enjoyable.
All right, let's take a bit of a break. And we're back. So, oh God, as you said, so the film opens, and this is right from the very first shot, Dan. Right from the very first shot, I thought, oh, this isn't going to go well, because it opens out on a graveyard, and you're hearing these voices, and I was like, what the hell's going on? And then the camera's kind of going through, and I'm like, oh, these are the voices of the dead people from the gravestones. What? Okay, these are them all telling their stories forever. Okay.
I just thought you can't have a more made-for-TV movie opening than this.
Yeah.
It felt like something from the Hallmark Channel.
Yeah, and that's a very good point. And I remember thinking, this is really lazy. And also, it's not needed. So the whole thing, and the random guy who you were saying is Christopher Moltisanti, who is one of the main characters in Sopranos. He is Dickie's son, who's just a baby by the end of the film, or whatever, or a toddler, whatever. And one of the things, and this is a big spoiler for Sopranos because it happens in one of the last episodes that was made, is that Tony actually kills him. They're best buds throughout the whole thing, and then they get in a car crash. Tony's this is part of Tony's downfall, basically, and he kills Christopher. So there's also that.
Yeah, so that being mentioned again, there's I thought, this feels like a bit of a cheap framing device. But then it set up an expectation for me. Okay, and he will end up killing me. Okay, great. I know where this story is going.
Does he say that? I can't remember. Right.
Yeah, he says something like, the first time you see him as a little boy, oh, that's my Uncle Tony, and he'll one day he'll kill me or something.
Right. Okay.
In the first scene at the docks, that is now. So
right.
I'm like, okay, basic storytelling narrative. You've established. That's going to be the end point. The dramatic conclusion of this will be the reveal of how that occurs. But it's never.
You obviously don't see that. Yeah,
it's never mentioned again.
Well, that's it, right? This is another thing where they're just playing to the fans.
Yeah,
and that's why I was just thinking. It's who is this for? Well, it's for Sopranos fans, obviously. But if you're doing it as this big standalone movie, then why the fuck are you opening it with as you said, it's weird, it makes no sense. But yeah, it opens out on the docks. You've got Dickie and Tony, and they're kind of acting a bit like father and son. And this is the thing as well, it's so exaggerated. They're always touching. They're always touching each other or whatever. It's okay, I get it. you know, you don't have to go like overboard with it. And there's a scene later on which I'll come to, which is like when Tony's a little bit older, played by Michael, where the dad comes back and like Dickie's basically like cuddling him almost up against the door frame. You see it in the trailer.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are you doing? Like, leave the man alone. Like, leave the kid alone. Like, his dad's just come back as well. He's not even moved. It's like you're seducing him. It's really weird. It's so strange. Like, what is going? Like, all right, okay, they're close. Like, fuck, leave it alone. Don't have to go on about it. So they're at the docks, and then this just went like straight off the cuff. So it's like, oh, okay, yeah. And I hate this whole like, you know, it's like their Dickie and Tony thing. It feels like very fake. I mean, it's fake, but like fake father son. Where it's like, you know, they're always happy, they're always giddy when they're around each other or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, oh god, doesn't feel like real whatsoever. It feels like and that's the thing with Sopranos, is even though it was that was a big part of it, is that it kind of was all about the banal of being a gangster. So all this fucking glossy shit that happens in the film, it's like being a gangster or trying to be like fucking Goodfellas or whatever. It's like, you know, yeah, okay. But the reason why we like Sopranos is it felt very gritty and real. Like Tony walking around in his fucking dressing gown, his hair's all fucked up, like eating whatever shit was coming by. Like all these like little real life boring parts of it is like what I quite enjoyed about it. And then I see something like this and I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's like a storybook or something. It's like some weird, like, as you said, like Hallmark film. Weird.
Yeah. It feels like I said, the characters don't feel very fleshed out, and then it doesn't feel like they do the work to make you understand these relationships. They're showing you this is what we want you to understand about their relationship. We're telling you
exactly.
That's what they're like.
Yeah. Well, this is it as well. It's like, and as you said, there's no real plot. So like here, okay, Tony, you know, all right, you've got the bit by Christopher, which fuck knows why that's in there really. But and then you got Tony and Dickie. Okay, cool. They're close. They're like a father-son. I don't know I can't remember if they say whether father-son or not. But obviously they're not, but talk about that. And then you get Ray Liotta stepping off. And he's brought his like young Italian wife who's like super hot. And it's kind of got this like all of this, by the way, like style wise, has this like weird sheen on it, like this weird color grade that's purposefully like looks cheap because it makes it look like it's like, remember the 60s or whatever, and it's got this like sheen on it, and it's like, yeah, okay, like again, it's like that feels like a TV movie trope or something like that, just the aesthetic of it. And I'll kind of come on to that as well as you kind of go through.
Ray Liotta, was this a makeup job? Because he looks really bad.
Yeah, it's funny because and this is, you know, we'll come on to later, because he's got a twin who looks more like Ray Liotta. But yeah, here I was like, God, he looks really like fat and weird and bloated and everything. And I think they had used a bit of makeup basically for it. I mean, I don't know for sure.
He looks really unhealthy.
Yeah, he does it really bad. I think that's part of it. And then so it's like, here's this like Italian wife. She doesn't really speak much English. You know, she's great. I'm going to bring her back. And already from the off, you can see like Dickie's like, he wants to fuck her, basically. he looks at her and he's like, she's hot. And she's like, he's hot. And so you're like, okay, all right. So there's going to be this like weird thing, like this weird rivalry. And that's interesting. I'm in for that. Okay, cool. His dad's brought back some, you know, hot young chick or whatever. And okay, we're setting up that there's going to be a bit of jeopardy, that there's like almost like a Shakespearean style Oedipal almost kind of thing going on here. I'm down with it. I'm down with that. That's fine. They have dinner and all this stuff. And basically they're like, hey, it's weird, Dickie, because she's like your stepmom. And they're like making eyes at each other. And I remember looking at this scene thinking, I've kind of just seen this. Like, I don't know, why am I seeing this again? Like, it's kind of trying to expand Ray Liotta's character a little bit and being like, hey, you were all for fucking fascists, remember, back in the day? And he's like, oh yeah, we don't talk about that, or whatever. So, okay. You know, fine. And yeah, you get an inkling of like, Ray Liotta's gonna, you know, do the right thing or whatever. And then it cuts to this scene where they basically they're chasing this black kid who's part of this gang. I don't really know why. But yeah, this black guy is chasing this other black kid, and then Dickie comes along and he like fucks him up a little bit, and they drive off. And then this is your introduction to, I think his name is Harold. Is that right?
Who is he?
Remember
I can't
his name?
remember.
I'm gonna look. The main black guy, yeah, Harold McBrayer.
Yeah, Harold. Okay.
So I was like, okay, well, here's some gangster stuff, But I was also a bit like, I don't really know what's going on. I thought he was a cop or something to begin with. I was like, oh, why is he chasing him down? Okay, cool, chasing him down. And it's our introduction to Harold, and I was like, okay. And then it cuts like him at home with his wife and kid or whatever, and they're kind of talking about, they talk a little bit about this numbers gambling thing.
Yeah,
I don't even know what it is. And they explain it a bit like it's basically like bingo.
that's how the Italians took control of New York City
Through bingo.
With bingo, yeah.
That's what it sounds like. That's what I mean. That's what I'm watching it going like, what the fuck are they talking like? Was this a big deal? It's like, oh, you could go there with like $200 or whatever, and it's like, okay.
But, I mean,
so anyway, I didn't really.
This is my complaint about like what I said about dialogue. It's just like really stock, scratch the surface, kind of like, they don't go into the detail of anything. They don't need to explain it. It's just like some kind of Some
well, also
cool
like, why are they?
like,
It's that thing of like show don't tell.
yeah.
Why are you telling me about the game? Show me it. I want to see it.
Yeah.
I want to see what it's about. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, just show me what you're talking about, rather than having it. Like, he could be walking through a fucking game, and it could have got. You know what I mean? It's just like, why are we doing it this way? It's weird. And then it cuts to, and then sorry, go on.
I suppose it pulls double duty a little bit because it's kind of trying to show, his ambition for his family. At this point, he's like a family man, I suppose.
Yeah.
And again, it's a little bit of an attempt at a story character arc for him, I think. And
yeah, and that's fine. But I'm
yeah.
like, he could be bringing his kid to it, for instance, and being like, "This is the game." I don't know, like anything. I was just like, I don't know, whatever. And then they go to the wedding, and this is where it's basically one big fucking wank fest over old Sopranos characters that you want to see. So you get Johnny, who's Tony's dad, who's played by John Bethel, or whatever. Walking Dead guy, I always think of him as Punisher as well. He's played as. You've got Livia, who is played by, oh god, what's her name? Vera Farmiga. I don't know. You say it Farmiga, whatever. So for context, Livia is Tony's mum, which you probably gathered. And she is like a nasty piece of work, and that's basically kind of what the first couple of seasons of Sopranos is about. The fact that his mother's an absolute like cunt, to be honest. Use a better swear word. And this is cool because she's younger here, and all that stuff which you could blame on her being an old woman in the TV series is all here. It's all very apparent when she's younger. So I quite enjoyed seeing her. You've got Uncle June. Who else? You've got like, I think you see, and you're not going to know really who these people are, but you see, I think Paulie's there. You see Silvio, you see Fat Pussy. So, and this is a bone of contention for a lot of people. So tell me what you think. So you've got Fat Pussy, basically, who's the big fat kid, basically, who I don't even think has a line in the entire film. Completely pointless in being it.
Yeah.
You've got Silvio. Silvio's like, he does this kind of face like, oh, well, yeah. And he's the one whose like hair is coming out. Do you remember? He's like balding.
Yeah, I remember him.
Right. Now, Silvio, played by Stephen Van Sant in Sopranos, of his street band fame, that's his thing. And as I was watching this, I was like, this is a good Silvio impression that I would do down the pub with my mates. Now, if you asked me to do a younger version of this, I don't think I would do that exact same impression and just be like, look, it's the same. I'm doing it the same way. It'd be more like, well, he's kind of like an old man by that point. And there's an element of like old man mannerisms about it. It's like you can, and a lot of people had a lot of problems with this. I didn't mind it as much as a lot of people, but I did think it's like he's doing caricature.
Okay, yeah,
Do you
I
know
can
what I
see
mean?
that.
It feels weird. I don't know what you think about it. And the thing is with Sopranos, so people forget this, is that Paulie, Silvio, and a lot of the characters in it are a bit caricaturish. They're a bit weird, and they don't feel quite in place. And that's part of like the Sopranos appeal. A little bit is it's kind of got these very strange characters and all this. But yeah, what did you think about his kind of performance here, not knowing future Silvio?
I thought all of them just came across as sort of dopey,
Nothing.
recognizable, kind of, like heavy types, that would often pop up in this kind of thing. I didn't think they
Right.
seemed very stock, not particularly interesting. They were fine for a little bit of kind of, I suppose, comedic relief.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough.
I mean, they weren't really used extensively then throughout the film. They were just kind of there, weren't they, in the background, not doing much really.
No, and that's why it was weird. It's like it wasn't needed. They added nothing, and that was the thing. It's as you were saying earlier, it's distracting from
Yeah.
what could have been a very focused and a very tight storyline by having these fucking random nothing scenes with these people in just to be like, remember this guy? Here he
Yeah.
is. It's like, what's that got to do with anything? Nothing.
It started making me feel like, oh, I've got to do some work here because I need to work out who all these people are in my head and work
Yeah,
out their relationships to each other. Because I'm starting to, at this point, brace myself for like a Godfather or a Goodfellas or something.
Yeah.
And I always lose the train of like who all these people are. So I'm like, okay, let's try and get these people. I'm doing some work here. I'm doing some, some mental gymnastics. But
Well, it's
in the end, it was
interesting
all
'cause
pointless.
Yeah, exactly. It was all pointless. And that's the thing is that they're trying to create almost like an ensemble piece, like Sopranos was. And it's like, you're not going to do that in 2 hours. Like,
Yeah.
you can do it, but not to the extent of what you're trying to do in terms of a TV series ish kind of thing. It's like, it's not Ocean's 11, and no one has, as you said, an arc. No one has a story. No one, like literally no one. Tony, I mean, kind of, but not really. Dickie, things happen. Do you know what I mean? Like stuff happens, but it's
Yeah.
not. He doesn't learn. There's no learning experience. There's nothing gained from it. There's nothing. There's no beginning, middle, and end with it.
No, and there's also no causality with what happens to him.
No, exactly. Yeah,
It's not like his, jumping ahead, spoiler alert, but he meets a bad end. But it's not as a result of something he's done. It's not cathartic, or there's no there's no like apotheosis or anything like that. It's actually really stupid.
yeah. And I'll come to that when we do it because that relates back to the TV series as well. So that what that surrounds that is probably the twist for Sopranos fans. So then you've got his Italian wife. I can't remember her name, but she's learning English. Sorry, and then you've got like Ray Liotta's like, oh, this is a waste of money. So you're starting to get an inkling that he's a bit of a dick, basically. And then we go to Satrials. Now Satrials is staple in Sopranos. It's where Tony's hangout was. It is either here or the Bing, which is the strip club. And yeah, they did a lot of business at Satrials. And you see, and it's one of those things where you're seeing these recognizable locations from the TV series, but way back when. And and they have a little bit of banter. They talk about just gangster stuff or whatever. And then you've got Harold comes by. Now this is part of this kind of bit I'm going to talk about. Is kind of sums up the entire film for me. So they've got the Italian wife is standing outside up against her car, right, as Harold and his other mate come in, and they're going inside, and he's kind of checking her out. She seems to dig it, and she's standing there, right, and they do this tracking in shot of like her smoking against the car. And I remember, and I was watching that thinking, what's the point? What is she doing? Like, that's the thing with like in Sopranos, at least, is that it was very male dominated. Like the wives never went there. This is where they would go to do their work, to hang out, to do whatever. what the fuck is she doing? Why is she A, waiting outside, and B, smoking a cigarette, leaning up against the car? The only reason she was there is because they wanted Harold to walk past, for one, and they wanted to do a cool shot with her up against the car because it looked cool, because it's all about the fucking cars and the style and all this. And they wanted that shot. And that's why they did it. And that is literally the epitome of style over substance. And this was it here. It was like absolutely fucking pointless, her being here. They could have thought of 100 better different ways for Harold to come across her than what they did here. You can use coincidence. You could just use random fucking, like, that's fine. But this idea that she's like hanging around outside whilst he's eating inside, like, does she go in there then? Because that's not happened before, and that's not something that they let their wives and other halves do. So, don't know. But anyway, I was like, whatever, post the story. And then I like this thing of like Harold, the whole Harold and Dickie relationship, for me, should have been the focus for the whole film. It should have been the fact that Harold is like, I don't want to work for the white man anymore. There's the uprising, and all the riots going on, and he gets sucked into that and thinks, yeah, fuck these white guys. I'm going to go do my own thing. And then having it, because they don't have a bad relationship. And I thought that was quite interesting, their dynamic, because Dickie doesn't really give a shit if he's black or white. Like, he's just like, he works for him, he gets the money and all this stuff. And I think there's a few comments down here and there, but it's not like a thing. You don't really think of Dickie as like racist or anything. I don't think, anyway. And then I thought it'd be quite cool, the fact it's like, okay, it's Dickie versus the guy that worked for him, Harold, and having that kind of gang war kind of going on where they're actually like mates, and they know each other.
Circumstances are causing them to divert, because also obviously Dickie's sort of like stepping up a bit. That would have made sense, like a modern day Fox and the Hound. Disney classic there.
I can't even remember Fox and the Hound. Is it literally that they were friends as kids and then they grow up and get old and hate each other?
Well, one's a fox and one's a hound.
Yeah.
They love each other as little pups, a pup and a cub.
Yeah.
Society dictates as they grow older, they have to come into conflict.
Yeah. Well, this is it. That's what I was like. If they'd focused on this, I would have really enjoyed that. I would like to see Harold kind of going up through the ranks, trying to do his own thing, getting his mates to kind of help him out, watching like the movement and all this stuff. Meanwhile, Dickie is like old school Italian mafia. He's got his own problems to fucking sort out as well, and all this, and just showing the journey of both of them that could perhaps like mirror what each other are kind of going through, and yet they're at odds with each other. I thought that could be quite interesting. And
Me
that goes
too.
nowhere.
At this point, that's what I kind of start assuming. Okay, this is where we're going.
Yeah.
And it would have made all of that, the race riot stuff, it would have made it relevant and meaningful in the film, as opposed to feeling, like I said, kind of like just sort of tacked in there and almost like cynical.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think as well, like you could have played with it, that there's that subconscious racism as well that you could have with like someone like Dickie, who might not be out and out, calling people whatever, but more the quiet racist, which is what, I think a lot of that's kind of going around at the moment, which is like, I'm not racist, but
inherent bias.
Yeah, exactly, inherent bias. And especially having someone that worked for you now at your level or maybe above or something, would rub some people the wrong way just because they're black, let alone anything else. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of that inherent racism that's around, especially like, it feels like from a British person looking on, we get it here obviously as well, that, race is like a real thing in America. Like it's it's always been a problem, but it's in that it feels like that's why they're kind of talking about the race riots, because it feels very relevant to stuff that's happened like recently, with George Floyd and all that.
No doubt about it.
Yeah,
I don't know when this was scripted, but in my opinion, it's a response to that.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing, is that they don't do anything with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like why? What's the point? Like they've not addressed it in any way. So and anyway, here you get like a young Paulie as well. I think young Paulie is just fucking boring as fuck. Like he doesn't. It's like, oh, he takes care of himself. He does his nails and he likes, and it's like, okay, like that's basically it.
Who's this guy?
Young Paulie, he's the one that later on has like a yellow jacket, and he's like, oh, it's going to ruin my jacket. I just got this.
Right. Yeah.
So he's one of the everyone's favorite characters when he gets older. It's played by Tony Sirico, who was an actual like kind of gangster.
Just another nothing here. Just another stock.
It could be anyone.
He felt a bit more like a stock Dick Tracy character, though, rather than a good a Goodfellas character.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
which is fun.
Absolutely. And then like the next bit I thought was quite cool, where they're chasing down this black kid again. I don't know if it's the same one. And he runs into the army recruitment, and he's like, yeah, I'll do anything. Just sign me up. Just get me over there. Whatever. I need to get out of here. And then, Harold comes in with a shotgun and basically just fucking blasts them, just kills them. And I remember thinking, that's Sopranos. That's good, because it shows that he doesn't give a fuck, basically. That he's willing to, like, he'll shoot this guy down, and he'll shoot this fucking soldier down as well. He doesn't give a fuck. Like, and then it's like, cool, okay, he's got that killer instinct. It's like he's a threat. They've shown you that he's a legitimate threat. That it's not just like all talk, and here he chases his kid down and he's being nice and whatever, and he's doing stuff for Dickie. It's like, no, this guy's like a real, he means business. That was cool. Yeah. That served a purpose, that scene in my head. And then he's having a chat with his wife, and his wife's like, we're never going to get anywhere because we're black or whatever, and all this stuff. And they talk about the war, and it's like, why the hell would you want to go to war? Like, we're all dying over there. No one gives a fuck, basically. So, yeah, okay. And then this kind of start of the riots, and I don't know if this is true or not. It's basically, if this is how it started, this white guy tells this black cab driver to go down a one-way street to drop him off. He gets pulled over by the cops, gets beaten the shit out of. And this seemingly starts the riots that kind of kick off. Now, this is where it took a turn. And for me, like around this point, I was like, okay, where's this going? Because Dickie kind of comes across and he's like, hey, what's going on, officer? And then he starts laughing. And as he's trying to like get out, he gets like hit with a brick in his car and stuff. And he's like, oh man, I'm just going to get the fuck out of here. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I remember the music going like, ain't it a kick in the head or whatever, in the next scene in the club, which is a little jab there. And he's just like, yeah, look outside. Like, look, it's like everywhere's burning or whatever. The city's burning and all this. And it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I really didn't kind of understand what was going on here, because I was just like, why would they be concerned about what appears to be a minor kind of, essentially a scuffle at this point? It's not like a massive riot, is it? It's very much in a very specific part of the city.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a bit like, okay, it's just like, oh, this is kind of going on, but we've already kind of seen it. Like, we don't need him to show everyone else. And it's like, okay, but why is that? Is it a problem? Basically, I don't know.
Exactly, that's it. I'm not clear at this point. Basically, what are their stakes in the city? Why is this a problem for them? Are they concerned? Are they flippant? I can't tell.
I don't even know what they do. I honestly don't even know how they're getting their money.
Well, they've got their bingo game, haven't they?
That's it. All I know is about the stupid bingo game. There doesn't seem to be any extortion going on. There's no like gangster shit happening. They just keep talking about the bingo game.
Later on, we see racketeering, don't we? So we know they've got that as part of the.
Oh, do we?
Setup.
Yeah, I'll come on to that. And then anyway, at this point, this is where you see the real side of Ray Liotta when he kicks his wife down the stairs. And again, like I like these scenes, not in a sense of like, violence to women or anything like that, but in a sense of like, this is the real kind of horrible, evil, dark side, and you shouldn't let up from that. Like, he's a nasty, fucking horrible piece of work, and they shouldn't shy away from it. Like, okay, he's the enemy. He's willing to kick his fucking wife down the stairs like he's a piece of shit, kind of thing.
Yeah, I was just glad it happened, because it was like I was waiting for it to happen, because they'd made him such a kind of, to me, cookie cutter pantomime kind of villain. He's obviously like really misogynistic, only has her, to be on his arm, doesn't care if she's heard. So it's kind of like we kind of know where this is going. He's going to be abusive. So I was like, thank God something's just happened and something's going to propel the story now to whatever direction we're going in.
Exactly. Extremely valid point. But unfortunately, it doesn't really go anywhere because the next scene, you see Johnny get arrested. Now, this scene was actually in The Sopranos, but they obviously did it differently. Okay. So this was a flashback that Tony had where he saw his father getting arrested at a fairground. The whole point of it is that he was taking Janice to the fairground, his sister, and he felt left out, but it was so that she could go play with her mates whilst he had some fucking dodgy shit going on in the back. And so he follows him once and he sees his dad get arrested. So you actually see that in Sopranos. They've kind of changed a few little details about it, but nothing that, too bothered about or anything. Like, I don't really give a shit. But then, you see Tony like run away and whatever. And it's just like, okay, whatever. It's like, I don't really like, okay, Johnny got arrested. Cool. Like, is that a thing? Is that a problem? Like, okay, I don't really know. And again, it's one of those things where it's like, I saw this in Sopranos. Do I need to see it again? Like, is it the fact that he's got arrested? Is that the problem? Couldn't you do another time when he got arrested? Or, I don't know. I was just a bit like, okay, we're seeing this again. All right, fine.
Yeah, and then this scene left me cold as well. I was just like, basically, my takeaway is the guy with the horrible mustache got arrested.
Yeah.
And people are reacting in strange ways to it that I don't quite grasp. And
and it's also,
I don't know if this is important or if these people are important.
And as well, like if it was me directing it, I would have done it from another viewpoint. Like, we've already seen this from Tony's viewpoint. Also, Tony doesn't even need to see this. In theory, like, I know it's like the whole point. One part of the point is that he's kind of he's reflecting and reacting and absorbing basically the kind of world, this violent world around him. And obviously that was a big deal to Tony when he got older, but it's not obvious to anyone who doesn't know what the fuck Sopranos is about. But like, if he'd done a thing where you see it from Johnny's point of view this time, like taking his daughter in and whatever, and then you realize like, oh fuck, this is the scene I saw in Sopranos, but now I'm seeing it the other way around or something like that, would have been perhaps more interesting or something. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, especially if it's just there for fan service, then that would have been probably more enjoyable, right?
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know. It's just weird. And then you've got Harold walking around and he's seeing all the race riots and there's people crying on the streets. All this stuff felt very cheesy to me. It felt like a TV drama.
It's so heavy-handed.
Yeah, it's really weird. And also, like, I should give a quick mention. Like, the CG is terrible. So, like, you'll see like people smoking, and the cigarette smoke doesn't interact with the environment. It just sits on top of whatever's going on. It's like 20 years old CG. The fire looks a bit shit as well. And everyone's got so much makeup on. Like, you can literally see all the makeup and the difference sometimes between their neck and their face and how much it is, especially Michael Gandolfini, where they have plastered. I don't know if he had bad skin or something. It doesn't look like in the interviews, but they've absolutely, it's like he looks yellow or like he's got jaundice or something like that, especially with the grade on it. It's fucking weird.
He looks strange in a lot of scenes.
Yeah, if you look closely, just look at the makeup. Like Livia as well, where they've tried to do a nose, it's like, doesn't look natural. It looks fucking weird. But watch the smoke, the cigarette smoke, because that is such a big. It looks so cheap. It's awful. So anyway, then you've got Dickie flirts with the stepmother, sees that she's got beaten up a bit. He's not very happy about that, to be honest. She smooches him, and he's like, "My wife's in there. What the fuck are you doing?" Basically, and then I was like, "Okay, this is cool." It reminds me of Goodfellas when, funnily enough, Ray Liotta finds out that the girl he's seeing got hit on or whatever, like by her neighbor, who's just nobody, and then he goes and drives the car over and smacks him with the gun. And I was like, that's cool. But what happens next is not as cool. He basically confronts his dad in the car, and he's just like, what the fuck are you doing? You used to smack me about, you're smacking her about now. And then in a rage of violence, he basically kills his dad. Kills Ray Liotta.
This is where I perked up, because at this point I was really struggling. I was just like, I'm just watching a cheap melodrama. And at least this bit of unexpected violence got me twitching.
Well, that's it. It's like, it's a big deal. He killed his dad. The problem is that when I watched this, I was like, he can't be dead because I've seen the trailer and he's in prison. So I was like, I don't know. So throughout this whole bit, I was just like expecting him to like get back up or
Pop
something.
up.
But he's not. He's very much dead.
I was
Yeah,
just
exactly.
kidding.
That's kind of, yeah, exactly. Just kidding, fella. And Tony's like playing ball or whatever, and Dickie's just a bit like, can you just fuck off?
Yeah. That was quite funny. This little scene was quite. I mean, it was absurd because it was so unexpected.
Yeah,
but that was I quite liked how it escalated, because he goes in there, I think, meaning to confront him about what's happened, and he loses his temper because he says, "Oh, you used to do this to my mother," and I think Ray Liotta's character says something like, "Oh, I seem to have a habit of like marrying sluts or something."
yeah, exactly.
It's like really vile. And that's it. He just loses his temper, pops him in the face, and then he just will not stop smashing his face into the steering wheel. And it's almost at the point where you can kind of see his head is like, it's not bouncing off the steering wheel anymore. It's like the wheel's getting embedded in his forehead. Yeah. So I was suddenly like, at least this is something happening. A bit of hyper violence is quite entertaining. So and then exactly. That little skit with Tony, like, can I come and can I watch you working on the car?
Yeah. So get out of here. But that's it. And it's like, again, Tony's kind of absorbing it, but he doesn't. But I was a bit like, he doesn't really know what's going on, apart from that Dickie's just being a bit of a dick, basically, to him. So that wouldn't necessarily have like you know what I mean, like a violent impact on him. But what I like is like you got the wife saying, "Oh, do you want meatloaf or whatever out there, or pork or whatever?" And I was like, this feels very Sopranos, where it's like high drama and something, you know, visceral mixed with something actually quite boring and banal, and the reality of like day-to-day life that kind of mixes in with it. But yeah, and then anyway, he basically takes the car, gets rid of the body, sets it on fire in pretty. If you see, this is another scene when he walks out of the place and it blows up. It looks fucking awful. Yeah, the CG here just looks absolutely terrible. It blows up. But anyway, he's got rid of his dad. He's been burnt alive. They have a wake, and then this wake thing is quite cool because you start seeing like Livia makes a few comments. You start seeing the classic. They do this a lot in Sopranos at wakes, where the guys will just stand around and talk and fuck about or whatever. You can see he's making eyes at his like widowed stepmother, who's basically killed someone for, and I think she knows. I think that's part of it, is that she knows that he's something to do with it. She probably gets off on that. She's bad news, really. And then you've got so this is where you've got Uncle June, who is the guy in glasses, and he's like, it's weird because he's a big part of Sopranos, but he kind of dips in and out a lot here. And it doesn't really, it's like, I don't even really know why he's in it this much, because he's not really adding anything to it until near the end. And it's like, oh, okay. And we'll kind of get to that. But
again, he's not really established very well. I kind of took him to be like a kind of, who's the guy who's like the accountant in the Godfather? There's like a brother who's kind of like, he's a bit more straight than the others, and he's kind of like the straight man. He's like the money guy. It's kind of that kind of character, isn't it? Where it's like the others kind of, he seems a bit more straight laced than the others. Maybe not so like alpha male. He's a bit like the putz. So he's just kind of there, in and out, a bit vague. Again, like I said, kind of feels like a bit of a cliche character, not all that well drawn. And he's just
that's it. in Sopranos, his whole thing is when he's obviously really old. He's Tony's uncle. Is that he wants to be the head of the gang. He wants to be the boss, and Tony's like, "All right, you can be the boss," because secretly he wants Junior to be the boss, so he gets all the heat. When really Tony's actually running things.
Yeah.
So, but Junior is so insecure and so basically just feels emasculated. He's very petty, and all this stuff that kind of syncs with this younger version of him that is also very insecure, doesn't like being laughed at, doesn't like feeling emasculated. But I feel like it's never built on enough that becomes apparent as to why he did it. As you said, there's not enough depth given to that character that sets it up for something like that to happen. It should have been much more apparent. They should have built on it more, because it's like, well, is he the secret like insurgent basically? It's weird.
Well, should we say what happens?
Yeah, go on then. Yeah, you say it.
So from this sort of sense that he's got that kind of insecurity, I think the next time we see him in a significant scene is when he's with his brother who's just come out of jail, and they're driving around, and he's kind of saying to him, "How did you let this happen?" I.e., a black person moved in on the street, and he's like, "What am I meant to do about that?" And he's like, "Well, you're meant to look after stuff while I'm away." So there's a little bit of that again, kind of like maybe a little bit of a chip on his shoulder that he's being treated like that. But again, it's not.
No, he's supposed to look after Tony a bit as well, and Livia is just like, he doesn't listen to Junior. Like, he doesn't know what Junior's talking about half the time. He listens to you, Dickie. There's that, but also the big one is that he slips and does his back in.
Yeah, that's the big one. But again, and then that just felt so arbitrary. It's not like a natural kind of thing that's come out of real drama and conflict, conversation. It's like, just throw the scene in. Like, he slips and Dickie laughs at him.
Yeah, so there is a Sopranos reason for that as well.
Okay,
which is that in the TV series, one of the big like Melfi asks Tony, "What's a good memory you have of your mother?" And he has trouble thinking of one. The one he thinks of is when his dad fell down some stairs and Livia laughed, and that's his one happy memory of his mother. And it's obviously indicative of the fact that she is nasty. That's the only time he can think of as a happy memory, when actually it's her being nasty.
Yeah.
And later on, when Tony slips down the stairs and Livia laughs, and that really gets to him, and that becomes that sticks in his head for ages. So the idea that June slips down the stairs and Dickie laughs kind of is mirroring that a little bit, but it also doesn't. But yeah, it's not given enough gravitas, basically. And also, I was like, it's a bit out of character for Dickie to laugh. Like,
yeah, it just comes out of nowhere. You're like, and because it's so unnatural, it obviously draws your attention. It's like, okay, this is going to be something at some point, because it just seems so absurd that they focus on this weird little thing with characters acting out of turn. So then, like, we see him with some sort of like back brace thing, trying to have sex, and he can't. And then
she's like, any excuse not to have sex, whatever. So again, it's that kind of emasculating kind of thing. And again, like, June has trouble with that in Sopranos as well. And there's also one thing is when he actually slips, and at another point during the film, he says, "Oh, your sister's cunt," as a thing. Now, the reason why they said that is because in The Sopranos, he falls in the bath having a shower, and he says, "Your sister's cunt." But the way it's performed is that, like if you stub your toe, you swear, but sometimes you can't get the words out, and it becomes something fucking weird. It's more like that. In this, it's like, here's his catchphrase. And it's like, it's not his catchphrase. Like, he said it. It was performed as if like, it's like, "Oh, you're fucking like raspberry dick-headed motherfucking shit snowfield," or something like that. Like, just like some fucking words that kind of spew out in the annoyance and frustration of it all. Not like, he always says, "Your sister's cunt. That's who he is," because you remember him saying that, right, guys?
That's so cheap.
He does it twice. Does it twice in the movie, and he does it once in the entire fucking 86 episodes of Sopranos. He does it once, and he does it twice in this movie.
Oh dear.
Fuck's sake, stupid. Anyway, when they go back to the funeral of Ray Liotta, Tony sees Dickie trashing the TV, and I thought that's fucking rude. Like, yeah, I'd fucking kick the TV in. You're at your dad's funeral. All right, you killed him. But you're at your dad's funeral, and everyone's just sitting around watching TV in the other room. It's like,
Yeah.
and then like Tony's like looking at it, and he's all like, "Oh," and they have a little look. But I'm just thinking, yeah, I would do that in front of my daughter. I wouldn't be like, it's going to mess her up for life. I'd be like, what the fuck are you watching the TV?
Yeah.
You weirdos. Stupid. Anyway, Johnny goes down to jail, and I love. There's one little bit which I did love, which is when Livia is like, "Oh my god," or whatever in the back, and Johnny just rolls his eyes like what a fucking drama queen. Jeez. I thought that was quite funny. And then you've got this next bit where Dickie sits down with his uncle.
Right. Yes.
Who's Ray Liotta, who's a twin, and they don't really talk about that. And the only reason I could see why his character, why these things even exist, is because they have not written in a character that Dickie can confide to. They wanted a Dr. Melfi, the psychiatrist, and Tony Soprano-esque thing part of it, where it's like, this is kind of what's going on in his head. This is how he sells it to himself. And they wanted something like that. So they put this in. Yeah. And I was just like, this is fucking weird. It's like, and this is the only time when it's Dickie kind of giving his somewhat, his thoughts, but they're somewhat shielded. Like he's not just going to just turn around and say, yeah, I killed your brother. Though it seems like Ray Liotta kind of seems to think that's the case anyway. He's not stupid.
Yeah, he figures it out. Is he real?
Okay, good question. And I read a lot about this, and it's take it or leave it. Like David Chase does this kind of stuff, and apparently there's a bit later on, and I missed this, where he's not there or something at one point.
Yeah.
It's like, did he ever exist?
Yeah, you see, he's thinking. I think they do like a bit of a flashback montage, and when they come back from it, Dickie's just sitting there alone at the table in the visiting room at the prison. So, yeah, I was kind of like, my feeling was he's not meant to be real, and it's like he's summoned up basically
his
a cipher for his father. Yeah, because he is actually laden with guilt.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
So it's kind of like he's asking, and he's asking for forgiveness.
Yeah,
and he's like, I'm trying to do all these good things, like manage the blind baseball team, and
yeah, exactly. That bit was weird.
But everything he tries to do, he kind of pushes it back and says, I don't want it. And all he will accept is Miles Davis' Birth of the Cool, which was, I thought, was kind of that was quite good fun. And he brings in Birth of the Cool, and he brings in this other record that he's like, take that away. And I was like, I'm going to look that up, that record.
Right.
I thought that'd be a fun thing to talk about on the episode, but I forgot.
Oh shit! Okay, or maybe another time. But yeah, I agree. It's also like at one point he goes, "I killed a maid guy, and I deserve to be here." Or whatever. And so's Dickie. That's exactly what Dickie's just done. He's killed his dad, who was maid, you presume.
Yeah.
And this is, and he should be in there, but he's not, and he's not willing to own up to it. But yeah, these scenes were a bit strange. But he kind of gives this advice, these little tidbits of Zen wisdom, which is kind of fine. Don't mind that. And then you see that he's basically got together with his stepmom, and they don't really do anything around that. It's just all of a sudden they've bought a house or whatever, and it's like, okay, I guess that's a thing. So I'm like, I feel like there should have been a midpoint here or something, or like a point where they were like, should we, shouldn't we, shall we, make it a little bit more, rather than so we're buying a house, let's have sex. And it's like, oh, okay, this is just stuff happening again.
Yeah.
This is here's the next stage in stuff happening, because we need to kind of get you through this. I was just like, I don't know. It's very
No,
weird.
I agree. The pacing here is really strange, and it's confusing because then I think we the next scene a little bit later on, he is with his wife in the car, and it's quite confusing as to, are they having an illicit affair, or is it kind of out in the open and people know about it? And she's
there's a
known to his wife, because then again he's talking about, I want to have a kid, and
Yeah, well, that's it. These guys have like gumars, which are basically mistresses that the wives basically really know about. But yeah, it's never clear whether it's never said that she's his gumar or anything like that, as in like a socially acceptable mistress, or whether that would be frowned upon because obviously it's his dad's widow. So you'd think that no matter, that the mafia would probably have a problem with that anyway.
Yeah,
Don't
well,
know.
this was another thing I'm thinking in the back of my mind. Is the story at this point going to be like a bit of like a Crime and Punishment kind of thing, where it's all about now his guilt, and he's going to be unraveling, and they're going to work it out that he did it because he's getting too close to this woman, and they're going to put two and two together and go, that's a bit weird, and someone's going to.
But also, like, who's they as well?
Well,
like,
yeah,
who's
his
the
family,
antagonist?
I suppose. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That
totally.
black guy isn't going to care. Harold isn't going to care, is he? Like,
Yeah.
who the fuck? Like, I don't know who the bad guy is supposed to be.
That's a good point. Yeah,
It's
the bad guy. Who's going to hold the bad guy to account?
Yeah, exactly. It's
only
weird.
Only this fake version of his dad that he's conjured up.
Yeah, but he's like in jail. He doesn't give a shit, and he kind of sounds like he's figured out that he's killed his dad anyway.
Yeah. But he's not. He won't let him off the hook. That's the point.
Yeah,
like you say, he kind of goads him by saying, "I killed a made man," like fully aware, I think, that he's killed his dad.
Yeah. Whereas, well, like later on, he's like, a lot of people seem to die around you, don't they? It's like, oh, yeah.
But even again, this isn't what then gets probed, because it's not about now his guilt racking him and that leads to his downfall. That's just not really followed up on. Yeah, by the by.
Exactly. That's what makes it weird.
That's the motto for this film, for the scripting.
Yeah.
Why did that happen? Just by the by.
Just because we wanted to shoot some stuff. And then you've got Tony having his own little scam, his own version of bingo going on at the school. And it's like, okay. And you find out he gets in trouble, and that's when Dickie comes up and he's like, what the fuck are you doing this for? Like, this is stupid. You've got to like try at school. You could actually, do something. And then he has this little pinky promise, which comes into, thingy later. And the thing is, I can't even remember what the promise was about. Was that he was going to like
promise to do well in school, keep out of trouble?
What it was?
Yeah,
keep out of trouble.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad you told me, because I was just like, because when it came up at the end, I was like, oh yeah, what is that? What is that pinky promise actually for? Because I can't remember.
It was meant to be imbued with all this meaning, right?
Yeah, and I totally like when it happened at the end. I was like, oh yeah, they did that once, but why did they do that? Like, I can't remember. Is it supposed to be a big deal? All right,
just like be a good lad.
Yeah, exactly. And then the next bit, you got a classic, like, here they are at the club. See Seal and his hair's going, and there's June, and they have a little like, Dickie like takes the piss out of June a bit, I think, if I remember rightly. And then Harold comes in, and he's a little bit like, he's now been, because he's seen some of the riots and stuff, he's coming in with a little bit more attitude, and Dickie's like
radicalized.
Yeah, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you acting like this? And he's just like, oh man, I'm just going to get the fuck out of here. I just need some money, whatever. He's like, okay, here's a bit of cash, like, whatever. Basically, like, I'm not going to ask for it back. You do what you want with it. But yeah, he notices again that his wife is kind of looking at Harold and all this stuff. And that's the thing as well. It's like, all it is glancing looks. Like, they don't never interact with each other. And is it just that she fancies him? Because then this whole time I'm thinking, I don't want Dickie and her to be together, because to be honest, she's like, it's not like she's in love with Dickie. Like, she doesn't really give a fuck. And you're like, if Dickie's supposed to be the hero, then you'd be like, don't waste your time with her. But if she's supposed to be like the love of his life and they're supposed to be together. So again, I'm like, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to feel here. Am I supposed to want them to be together? Is she the bad guy? Is she the antagonist or something? I don't know. Like, what am I supposed to feel? Because I'm not sure what I'm supposed to feel here. As you said, she got the records and all this stuff, and he's like, "This isn't jazz. This is shit." And then the next bit, you've got them in the bus. This is where you see Artie, who is a character later on in Sopranos, and he talks about Vesuvio in the restaurant, which is what he does in the TV series. And then they smoke a cigarette, and if you look at the cigarette, it is the fakest looking cigarette. I think it's actually a vaping cigarette. It is the shittest cigarette ever. And anyway, they go into Holston's. Holston's has some relevance because that is where the entire Sopranos series ends, in Holston's, if I remember rightly, and someone might pick me up on that. So there's some relevance to that as a location, but you're kind of like, whatever. And now we kind of cut forward in time. Johnny's coming home, as you said. June's like, oh, whatever. And then I love this bit. Johnny comes back, and Olivia is like, oh, right, oh, it's so great to see you. I love you. I've dressed up all nice. And he's like, what are these black people doing living down the road? She's like, what do you want me to do? And this is kind of what I felt a bit weird about as well. And he's like, oh, here we go, and all that. And I'm like, what are they arguing about? Why is he being like, he's been away for like fucking whatever it is, like 10 years or something. And that's the first thing he says to his wife is just, there's black people living in the street. And like, it's her fault or something like that. And I was just like, this is just purposefully been, he's already had this conversation with June on the way over anyway, and blamed him for it. And I'm just like, they just wanted to have like some kind of conflict. They literally were just like, they need them. Yeah, they just literally were just like, we need them to argue about something. It's this big jubilant moment. We need them to argue something straight from the off and just to show that they're like a bad family or whatever. They have a bad relationship. But you have chosen something which is, it could have been something like, oh, you got rid of my chair or something like that. It's like, oh yeah, like it's like my father, you know what I mean? It could have been anything.
I know what you mean.
Rather than a repetition of what we've just said. And what do you think about, let me ask you as well, a lot of people complained that this film was very woke, that it was too woke. And I'm using little bunny ear things there. I don't really know what a woke film is, apart from something that's kind of dealing with current issues at the time. But I guess when people say that it's like woke, they can mean it as in like, oh, it's trying to be PC. But also, I always think if it's exploiting perhaps something, current affairs, basically, for do you know what I mean? Like, there's something exploitative about it is what I'm trying to say. I didn't get an impression, apart from what we've already discussed in terms of the riots and things like that. I didn't think of it as a particularly woke film, and I don't even really know what a woke film looks like.
I think, like I said earlier, it feels cynical. So maybe in your terms, I mean exploitative, because it's raising these things in a way that I feel like it's trying to score brownie points rather than seriously address them. It's like we've got a character who's bad and he doesn't like black people. And then later on, it's like you see Harold buying a house and moving in, and it's like big tick. It all feels very much pandering.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I agree. It's I don't see the relevance in any of it, to be honest. So
but like you said, this could have been, they could have made that film and told that story really, really well. And they chose not to. They chose to use it as dressing.
They chose poorly. That's an Indiana Jones reference there. So now you see Michael Gandolfini, who's Tony Gandolfini's son. He's all like dressed up. He's being a bit weird with Dickie. You can see like his mum's turned up to 100. The woe is me, the victimness or whatever, the martyrdom, I should say, and all that for a fairly good reason. But she's like turned up to 11 basically. and you can see like Tony's a little bit like, this is really awkward and I don't know what to do, which I thought was good because it made it, the awkwardness that you feel and the fact that you're seeing Tony, you're kind of setting that context in your head for later on when when he's sitting having those chats in the TV series, that these are the kind of things that it all stems from.
I mean, that makes a lot more sense now to me because all of this seemed very strange. And especially the conversation a little bit later where she's going, "Oh, doctor said I should have these pills, and so I got rid of him." And he's really taking an interest in the pills. And he goes to Dickie and is like, "Will you talk to my mother about taking the pills and the pills and the pills and the pills?" And I'm just like, "Well, what is this weird little angle now that's being pursued?" And again, it gets kind of dropped. And
it just gets dropped. I think with that is that as if like there's a lifeline that she could actually have gotten help. That she actually, maybe she could have taken the pills, she would have got better, and maybe Tony wouldn't have turned out the way he is.
Yeah,
something
exactly.
like that.
So if you know the character, if you know the character from The Sopranos and where that character's going to go and everything, then all of that, kind of makes some sense, I think. And maybe it's quite cool to kind of go, what a shame, and that's the genesis of the character. But I was just
I like,
what the hell is that? What's this now?
Yeah, I mean, that was weird. I mean, I like the idea that it's like, because there's a thing like where later on he tries to hide that he takes drugs and medication, and drugs, but like medication in Sopranos and all that. And his mother sees it as a weakness, and that's kind of started to ingrain in him that it's a weakness and all this. So it's kind of sowing the seeds for something that you already know has happened to a degree. But I liked the visualization of this very happy, timid looking woman basically on the front compared to like Livia. But that's a good scene that kind of comes up later. But at this dinner scene when Johnny's come back, this is where you see baby Christopher, and then he's like, oh, it's like he doesn't even like me or whatever. And the old woman is like, they can see into the death, they come from another world or something like that. And he's like, oh. And I was like, oh God, that's so lame. It's basically being like, he knows you're going to kill him because he's a baby and he has some kind of, it's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Fuck off. That is so shit. That is so lame and cringe. Like, why say that? Just have him like cry and that's it and just fuck off.
Yeah.
Oh, it's because he can see to the other side because he's a baby. Yeah, get it. If you just had him cry and go off, then it's like you can be like, because he killed him. No, got to nail that fucking point home because you're all idiots. It's like, whatever. Fucking
it's terrible.
Pisses me off. It's so shit. And then you've got this. I quite like this bit where they have how do I put it? Like this poetry reading thing, like black beat poetry kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
And and I quite like that bit. And I like this, like, it's kind of showing how there's a cultural side to it that he's kind of, he's digging and all this stuff. He's enjoying it. And he's kind of, it's not just the violent side of it, basically. And I think that's quite important, that it's not like, oh, we're rioting and all this stuff. It's like there's a side of it that's not just about that. It's also about, the kind of art movement. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, it is a bit cheesy though, because I think there's a little bit of the is it Gil Scott Heron that was it like the revolution will not be broadcast or whatever it is. I can't remember what it's called. You hear a little snatch of that. But I suppose, they've only got so much time to kind of get that across. So it's kind of like he's fallen into this like beat movement sort of thing in the late 60s, social rights, and he's into the rights side of it as well, the empowerment side, and there's a bit of an awakening.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it kind of needed that because they've already he's a bit of a thug, basically. We already know that. But now he's like, you know what? I think we're going to do our own thing. That kind of inspires him to like, and you're like, okay, cool. So I'm thinking, cool, this is building up. He's going to like rival Dickie now and all this stuff. But keep in mind, at this point, you are halfway through the fucking film. You're halfway through. This should have been in like the first like 20 minutes. Like, why, like, if that, why is this happening an hour in? Oh, it just makes me sick. And so the next scene, look at the cigarette smoke in this next scene. I think it's Janice. It's like, it looks fucking terrible. And yeah, they're watching TV. I don't know if there's any relevance to what they're watching or not. I don't know. And then they all go around and basically they go see Harold. And yeah, I can't really remember what's supposed to happen in this scene, but again, there's that little bit of flirtation between him and the wife, and they have a little chat. I think it's just a bit like, I think Dickie's starting to get a sense of what he's starting to do or something like that. I don't really know. And then we go off on this tangent where the wife is trying to buy some beauty salon or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. And they have like a little chat about it. And then she's like, yeah, cool. This beauty salon is great. And then he's like, I don't know if we should do it. She's like, you're trying to stop me. You're trying to stop me doing everything. Like, fuck you kind of thing. He's like, you know what? I'm going to go home to my wife. Whatever. So I was like thinking, okay, so is that important? Like, they've had a little argument. This would be a scene in a TV episode where that episode is about the salon. I don't know what the salon's got to do with anything apart from the fact that it's like she wants it, and you're not even sure why he's not really giving it to her. Like he's like, oh, I just can't do it right now, or whatever. And she's like, you're purposefully trying to like stop me. Yeah. And it's like, okay, the only thing I can see this serving is that they want to get it to a point where she's pissed off with him so that she can sleep with Harold. Otherwise, I don't really know why this scene is in here. And I don't really know why they need to set it up so that she sleeps with Harold, because Harold is never really seen as much of an enemy until you realize that it's coming back round and they need him to do that so that Dickie can kill her and they have a bit of drama. Do you know what I mean? It's like having all these like boring plot points to get to something exciting. It's like, well, it's not exciting. I don't really understand how you got there. It's weird.
No, it was stupid, all of this.
And then you've got the ice cream scene. I still don't understand what this is. They nick an ice cream van and then to give out all the ice creams.
Oh man, this was weird. What
was this about?
I was like, I'm trying to get a grip on this Tony character myself.
It's like a Robin Hood thing, something.
So I'm like, he seems kind of like, all right, decent enough, and he's kind of, looks a bit gawky and all this. And then you see him acting like a thug here.
Yeah.
And just a dick. And but at the same time he's got this like goofy look on his face the whole time. And and then it's like, oh, actually it's just a bit of kind of fun because actually they're just hijacking it to give out free ice cream. But at the same time, it's just like it doesn't make you warm to the character because you're like, they seem like dicks.
Yeah, well, that's it. I was just watching it going, oh, maybe this is like a side hustle he has. He like sells the ice cream, super fucking cheap or whatever, gets the money, fucks off, which is basically what they do in an extortion racket or whatever. They'll take over the shop, they'll kind of get in, they'll take it over, they'll bleed it dry, and and then they just fuck off and leave for someone being bankrupt. And I thought, oh, this is cool. They're going to do it on a smaller scale with an ice cream van, sell the ice cream dirt cheap, take that fucking money, sell off whatever they can, maybe sell the van even, take the money and fuck off, go. And you got a whole bunch of cash for fuck all, basically. But no, they're just trying to make him endearing. I don't know. It's weird. Like he's giving kids. It's like that. There's a trope which is like the save the kitten thing or something like that, where it's like in a movie or anything, you have to have them save a kitten, and that doesn't mean literally. That's just saying that if you want someone to be a hero, you got to have them do something heroic, like a heroic deed, something nice that will make the audience root for him and realize that he's actually a nice guy. And I was like, this is what this is doing, surely. Like, but he's not. It's not like saving a cat, but it's like because he's still stolen something. But this is like a Sopranos version thereof of it or something. I don't know.
I suppose that's what they were going for, but it really didn't work for me. Just like I hate him. It just seems really annoying and stupid.
Yeah, he is annoying in this. Yeah. The next bit is a bit of Sopranos history, basically. There's a episode where Janice tells the rest of the family basically how Uncle June was in a car with his Gumar and Johnny pulled a gun on Livia and shot her through her beehive. But the way that she tells it is that Livia was just being annoying and it was like a bit funny. But there's something like dark and horrible about it at the same time, which is kind of works into Sopranos, and to be honest, works into the entirety of Sopranos. And here they show the actual scene, and it's not June for a start; it's Dickie. And here it's like, I don't know if it's supposed to be funny or not. It's when he shoots her through the beehive thing, because she is a bit like.
I didn't think it was played for laughs. This.
But that's what I mean. And I think there's an element where, like, John Bernthal, whatever his name is, he plays Johnny Soprano. Johnny Soprano in The Sopranos was kind of gay, like in the flashback scenes, everything was kind of seen a bit like Tony in a sense of he's a bit cheeky. He's a bit of a cheeky lad. Like, he's kind of like, oh, whatever, come on. Whereas John Bernthal plays it like he's a fucking psycho.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not done as a cheeky chappy kind of thing. He's like, I'm a fucking serious gangster. Yeah. And that's why something like this scene, if it was like the cheeky chappy type, might have come across as more lighthearted, like it did when Janice was saying it back in the original Sopranos. But because it's John Bernthal doing it, it feels threatening and more dangerous.
Yeah, it was nasty.
Yeah, and there's something really a bit scary about it, which I don't think was kind of the original intention. I don't know, whatever. It's weird. So the next scene, out of nowhere, Harold's fucking the mother, his stepmom or whatever, his new wife, girlfriend, whatever. And it's a bit like, okay, how did that happen? Like, what brought it to this? Like, because all they've ever done is nod at each other, just look at each other.
Yeah.
Like, they've had no interaction. I don't even know how they get a hold of each other.
Just comes from out of the blue.
It's weird. It's just there's no lead up to it. It's just like, oh, okay.
It's an excuse for some tits, basically, as well.
Yeah. She's doing it to like piss Dickie off. And that's the thing as well, is that, I don't know, like, I was thinking, is it because she thinks Dickie's racist? Is it because he worked for him? Did she actually fancy him and she's wanted him? Because they've kind of set it up that it's a kind of revenge thing more than anything because of the hair salon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's quite manipulative, and she says something, doesn't she, that I think she says it to be provocative. That Dickie says that none of you people have a head for the business side of this or something. You'll never be successful.
That's right. Yeah.
So she's just poking him and stoking the fire. Yeah.
That kind of gets him going. And that's good, actually. I forgot about that. That's a good piece of it. And that kind of leads on nicely to the next scene, which is basically where the Italian guy comes in and is like, oh, I'm here for my money. And then Harold, I think it's Harold, is just like, you're not going to pay him anymore. You're going to pay me. And then goes outside and shoots the Italian guy in the head, who we've only seen once at the funeral. So it doesn't really matter that he's dead because we don't know who the fuck he is anyway. And I was like, okay, here's some gangster stuff. This stuff should be happening every like 5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
To keep it going. It's like, why is this taking so fucking long to get anywhere? So yeah, then he has his little chat and he dreams about being the baseball coach. Everyone's going, wow, well done, you're great, or whatever. And then that's when he kind of realizes he's by himself. And as we've already kind of gone over that, it's a bit of a weird scene. Like, he didn't realize, like, what the fuck is he doing there? If the other guy's not even sitting there. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Anyway, they take the mate of Harold, and this is kind of like where they torture him a bit. This bit's pretty cool, where they put the thing in his mouth and his teeth get all smashed up and spat out and all this. And I thought, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, this was fun finally.
Yeah, exactly. A bit of violence there. And then again, we've cut back to Tony, and I don't really know why. They're talking about Tony and his schoolwork, and he's like, oh, school, whatever. And she's like, you could really make something of yourself, kid, or whatever. And Livio's a bit like, I'm parked in front of a fire hydrant, make this quick. She's like, I think, Tony could do well. And she's like, oh, whatever. He's nothing. He's an idiot or whatever. She couldn't give a shit. She's more worried about getting in a car and fucking off, basically. Harold finds out his mate's dead. And he's like, oh, I'm going to do something about it. So now at this point, I'm like, okay, things are getting going. I'm an hour and 20 minutes into the movie. The movie should be coming to an end. It has just started. It's just happening. Fuck. And they're all coming out of the club. And anyway, there's basically a drive-by that kind of goes wrong. And then this next bit, I really liked. And I thought, oh, this is going to go somewhere now. Because Dickie runs back into the club. He gets a gun. And then there's this kind of like cat and mouse game a little bit.
Well, this is it. This is what we've been anticipating, isn't it? We're going to get this showdown between Harold and Dickie. Things have come to this head. Although it's kind of suddenly it's come quite quickly now at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is exciting, but
it
doesn't really. Over. Yeah.
I thought this should have been the climax.
Yeah.
Of the film, and it should have been
have one of them kill the other.
Yeah, it should have been extended. And this is a bit I don't get. So maybe you can explain it to me. Is that they kind of shoot out or whatever, and then there's a big hole in the wall, and then Harold points his head through, sees it's Dickie, and then walks off. And I'm like, but they knew it was each other, didn't they? Like, why are they not? Why have they let the other one go? Honestly, I don't understand it. I don't get it.
No.
I didn't know. Why are you shooting at each other then?
Yeah, well, wasn't he slightly interrupted, Harold, by the arrival of
the police or something?
So he just kind of like looks through and thinks, "Not now. Live to fight another day."
Yeah, but it's like it's a second. Take a second, and I don't get it. I just didn't get it. I was just like, oh. The way it kind of looks, it looks like they just realised who it was.
Yeah.
And
no.
Like, okay.
I think they knew. Again, it's just, it feels like a cheap drama convention.
Yeah, they should have, that could have been the cool finale or something. Like the streets on fire, literally. I don't know, whatever.
Especially because we've had like a few people killed, so it really feels like, okay, we're ratcheting up to the end here.
Yep, and then it slows right down because now we're going to watch Tony eat a sandwich and try and tell his mother to like go see a therapist. And like this conversation itself, I'm not against, but I was just like, why is it happening now? Why is it happening here? Why is it happening at all? Like, it makes absolutely zero fucking sense in terms of the film's plot. Because it's not about Tony, as you said. If this was the fall of Dickie through Tony's eyes, that would make sense. Why the fuck are we seeing Tony, apart from the fact that it's like, here's young Tony talking with Olivia? It's like, this makes absolutely no sense for the film. This is like two films smushed into one. I don't know what it is. And then, this is when you've got him falling down the steps and all this, and everyone laughing. Then Tony gets a little bit of the taste of these speakers that Dickie gives him, and is a little bit like, this is just a little taste, but don't, he doesn't kind of want him to get into the life too much or whatever. And then you've got June trying to have sex with his wife, and he can't, which we've kind of discussed. And then you've got this scene, which is Harold going to quite a famous gangster, though I can't remember his name, but it's the Ridley Scott film, American Gangster. This is who Denzel Washington played, if I remember rightly. And basically being like, I want to be like you. I want to be a successful black gangster, basically, and do what you're doing. And this guy's like, okay, go for it. I'm all for it. Here's a gun. Do what you want, kind of thing. He's like, okay, cool. So I'm like, okay, this. I feel like this should have happened before the scene that we just had. Like, why have we reset? We've reset everything.
Exactly. That is exactly what I was about to say. It's a reset.
Yeah, and it's weird. And we're like, yeah, exactly. It's very fucking weird.
But at least we're like, okay, we're back on track for this story that, at this point, this is the kind of story that you can actually kind of latch onto and maybe make some sense of. And he's even kind of like, he offers him support, doesn't he, in doing it? And Harold's kind of like, maybe this is something I need to do on my own, and he's like, okay, cool. He's going, He's got purpose.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's a mission or something. There's something happening. And then it slows right down again because Dickie is now on some vacation with the Italian woman whose name we can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
He has sex with her in the bathroom just because they need to have some kind of more sex in it to make it seem more adult. Doesn't really serve a purpose to anything apart from the fact that they're back in love or whatever. And then you can see it's all lovey-dovey, and you're just, I'm watching it going, this is so cheesy because obviously this is going to end badly. Like there'd be no reason they're making this so lovey-dovey if it wasn't about to just fuck up in a second. And that's exactly what it does. She's just like, he's like, oh, I'll get you the salon. And she's like, I need to tell you something. I slept with Harold. And he's like, what? He kills her, drowns her in the ocean. And then her body just disappears immediately, which I thought was quite interesting.
Quite convenient.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, I'm going to kill you in the ocean. And this whole thing, I was like, it feels so washed out in terms of the coloring. I was like, it doesn't, like, it feels like a cheap movie again. It doesn't look right. It looks like someone, like the person who did the grade on it, it looks like they just slapped on a filter and not did anything to it. I don't know. It's weird. Tony's blissed out listening to the music and all this stuff. I don't really know what that's proving apart from the fact it's like, thank you for my speakers.
I think there's little things like this that kind of showing him as he's a normal teenager. Which I kind of, again, not knowing the Sopranos or the character he's going to become, I think I was like, this really feels like they're trying to. Well, it feels like they're trying to give you something as a fan. Like look at him when he was just a teenager, a normal teenager, just enjoying some music, and and he's kind of like, I don't want to take these speakers because they're hot, and I'm trying to be a good guy. And so now here he is, he's got them, but he's kind of being, like just a normal guy, and he's on a bit of a path to righteousness.
Yeah, exactly. Dickie has another chat with his uncle and is basically like, my wife died or my girlfriend died or whatever. And he's like, oh, that's weird. Like, why does everyone keep dying? Yeah. And then this next, I don't remember how it ends. I think he's just like, that's it. He's like, you know what you could do for Tony? Just leave him alone. No, stay out of his life or whatever. And I remember thinking, how the fuck does he know about Tony? Like, he's not talked about him that much, but okay.
Because it's him. Because it's his manifestation of his dad, and it's just him talking to himself and his guilt, and so he realizes at this point, let me do something about this.
Right,
I'm leading him astray.
I get it. So then this next bit confused me a little bit as well. So we see Carmine, who I believe is supposed to be Carmine from The Sopranos, I'm guessing, who's the New York boss, or becomes to be the New York boss. And he sees Harold at a restaurant, and we think, okay, fuck, here we go. He's found him. He's going to pass it on. Dickie's going to go get him. This is where it's all going to kick off. And then we cut to Tony on the phone, and we see Carmela, a young Carmela, who's just some young blondie. And we see Tony just trying to be like, I need some beer. Where's Dickie? I need some beer. And this is the whole thing where it's like, why doesn't Dickie just turn around? Instead of ignoring him, just say like, dude, I think we need to spend some time apart because I am like into messed up shit. Like, what on what earth does he think? I'm just going to not talk to him and ignore him. Is that going to be better or whatever? It's fucking weird.
Yeah. And then, like you say, these scenes to kind of make the point really labour it, and we get this sort of silly teen kind of drama stuff.
Well, yeah, and again, like, even this phone call is a double up. You only need one. You don't need him to do two. You don't need him to call Dickie and then call home and then Dickie say, get off the phone. You don't need it. Just make it the one.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
It's weird. And then then you see these little spout of violence. And I think this is one thing, a lot of people liked Michael Gandolfini's performance, but I think it wasn't that great. I think he does sound like him. He does look like him. But Jim Gandolfini, when you watch Sopranos, like Jim Gandolfini feels threatening. And it's not just because of his size, whatever, but like there is like some bite to everything he says. And you can see behind his face there is an anger and an evil and a vindictiveness that I imagine Jim Gandolfini can tap into and probably has in himself, but I don't feel like this Michael kid has. So when he's pretending to be a tough guy, I'm like, he's acting like he's trying to be tough. Whereas when Tony did it, it's like, it's very hard to describe. It's like there's a constant fucking rage, and all you need is a little push or something like that, but it's always there, and you can always feel it and sense it. And he's going to fucking blow at any moment, and you don't know when it's going to happen or what he's going to do. And there's that. Michael Gandolfini to me just doesn't have that.
Yeah, kind of what I said at the beginning of one of the stories they're trying to tell seems to be him and his development into that character. And I didn't feel it was done successfully because it's just not convincing.
No, it's not.
They pepper this little arc with a few events like this where you're like, oh, he's got that spark of anger and violence in him, but it doesn't resonate. You don't feel it. I didn't believe it.
No, not at all.
And I think the final scene with him as well, where it's meant to be, I don't know, maybe he's like so grief stricken and angry that he kind of like turns a corner and becomes, goes from the boy to the man or something. But again, he doesn't really convey it very well. He just kind of like screws his face up a bit.
Yeah, well, this is it. I don't know. We're kind of coming into the sprint to the end.
Yeah.
And it's like it's still trying to establish a narrative.
Yeah.
Still trying to establish a story or plot.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this should be coming to a conclusion. We should be in like the third act of whatever this is.
Yeah. At this point, I was looking, I was like, there's only 10 minutes of this left.
Yeah, where's this going? Because it's like nothing's happened. And that's the thing. So like Seal comes into Dickie and he's like, Tony's outside, you should talk to him, whatever. Like, you can't just ignore him. And then Dickie basically cries. And it's like, and I was thinking, what is the, and maybe you can help me with this, but what is the inner turmoil? Why is he crying? Is it because he's crying because the kid loves him and that he's upset because he thinks he's going to lead him into a bad life? That's probably the most likely.
Yeah.
I just didn't really understand why he put himself in this position that he just couldn't sit down and have a chat with him about, which is where this is leading up to, because it leads up to like, okay, we'll go have a talk at this place. It's like, why didn't you do that from the beginning or over the phone? Why have you done this really weird thing of just ignoring him when it's like he clearly like looks up to you or whatever?
Again, this is just where it hasn't paid off. They haven't put in the work for this to feel like it's got some emotional meat and impact behind it. Because I think this is meant to be him coming to terms. Again, it's just like a convention of these types of films done very well with The Godfather. But it's that moment where he's like, God, I've really screwed everything up. I killed my dad. I've now killed my mistress. What have I become? And I'm a terrible role model.
Yeah, but I don't know anything. Even at this point, I don't know anything about Dickie.
Exactly, that's it.
I don't know anything about him. I don't give a shit if he's upset or not. I've spent a whole 2 hours with the guy or whatever, and I literally don't know anything about him or what he wants or what he tries to do or what he would like or what his inner battles really are. What's his motive? I don't even know what he does. I don't know what's going on.
He's a bingo caller.
Where's he trying to get to? He's a fucking bingo caller. He kills people every now and then. He has these flouts of violence. What's going on?
They didn't earn this moment.
This is a big emotional scene, exactly. And like Tony, I mean, there's this thing, right? There's a theory about how Tony is actually gay in Sopranos, and people point out loads of stuff throughout the entire fucking series that points towards. I think it's not, maybe, I mean, I don't know, like whatever. I enjoy reading people's interpretations into stuff anyway. Masculinity and how do I put this? Homoerotic kind of stuff is kind of prevalent through Sopranos, to be honest, like what it is to be a man. And the fact that like there's a whole episode where it's like licking pussy basically makes you gay, and all this kind of stuff, even though it makes no sense. And as I'm like watching this, I'm thinking, is he literally? Does he fancy his uncle or something like that? Because it's like he's like a little schoolgirl with stuff like this. They're so touchy feely as well and whatever. And I was thinking, you know what, that would be a great twist. Him and his uncle, who's not really his uncle, by the way. Like they're not blood related or whatever. Like there was maybe this sort of weird homosexual, and he'd be like, oh, but it was like a kid. Maybe he was abusing Kid Tony. Maybe that's why Kid Tony grows up to be such a fucked up piece of shit, and all this stuff. Blah blah blah. I'm not saying that's the case.
They could have
But I
done
am
that, though,
saying
right?
they could have done that, and I'm just saying when it seems like he's asking after Dickie and all this, and he's getting really fucking upset, and he threw his speakers out the window, whatever, and his dad's like, "Oh, what the fuck?"
Because we've established he loved those speakers.
Yeah, exactly.
So this was
But
a big,
it was a big deal. It was a big deal. But there's that part of me. It's just like, why? Like, is he that in love with his uncle? But also, there's nothing there's nothing that's proven that apart from he was really close to him when he was a kid, and he gave him some speakers.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like nothing's done anything for him. There's no like, I don't know. It's just fucking weird. It's weird.
There's no emotion in this film. That's the problem. All these things happen where you're like, you can recognize. I think I can see how I'm supposed to react to this, but nothing makes emotional sense.
Exactly.
It's just poorly made.
Yeah, and that's it. And then it's like, oh, okay. And I think like Seal comes up. He's like, you should do something about it. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to call him. We'll have a little chat or whatever. Sounds great. And then we get to the big part of where Dickie gets shot. Now, in Sopranos lore, depending on who you ask in the show, it's that he was carrying a crib for Chris back into like at Christmas into the house. And basically, so the whole setup in the Sopranos TV thing, there's a whole episode basically where the relationship between Tony and Chris is weird, but Chris is starting to like deviate a little bit from the path of what Tony wants, and he's starting to be a bit rebellious. So what Tony does is he takes him to a restaurant one night and says, you know that cop there, it's his leaving party there today, he's the one that killed your father. He's like, oh, I thought someone killed my father or whatever. He's like, he's the man that pulled the trigger. Now you do what you want. And so the idea is that Tony's then like, do what you want. Chris basically breaks into this cop's house. I think he's a little bit drunk, and asks the cop, and the cop's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but ends up shooting the cop. And it's kind of ambiguous as to, no one knows for sure whether this cop killed Chris's dad or not, but Tony uses it as because his whole thing with Tony is very manipulative, obviously, but he uses it to kind of control Chris and be like, you know, I did you this big favor and blah blah blah. And Chris is very like, it's like, you know, thank you for giving me this present and basically showing me the guy that killed my dad. But I think you're kind of like, any smart person would be like, I think Tony's making it up. Like, I don't think this guy killed your dad. I just think he wanted you to kill a cop. But so anyway, that's always been ambiguous. So now we see it. We see Dickie get shot, and he's taking fucking TV trays or something into the house, or whatever the fuck it is. He gets shot, so like nothing. And then you see that it was Uncle June that was kind of behind it all, which is a big deal for Sopranos fans. However, makes absolutely zero fucking sense. They've literally just done little tiny hint. There. This is the big thing. And it's like, you've not earned that. You've not earned it at all.
I mean, they haven't earned it just in the context of this film, but I didn't realise it had an impact on the storytelling and narrative of the whole series.
Yeah.
It's really poor. I feel like we get robbed of the Harold Dickey dynamic storyline that we maybe have kind of recognised is kind of developing across this film. And like I said, we get robbed of any kind of arc that Dickey's been on. Because, as I said, his sort of downfall has nothing to do really with anything.
Anything.
It's just a random occurrence, essentially random. Deus Ex Machina. Oh, he's just killed because he laughed at someone falling down the stairs.
Exactly.
It's just so
weird.
disappointing. It's just, it's totally crap. Waste of
it's
everyone's
awful.
time.
It's so bad. And then you've got Tony waiting at Holston's or whatever again, and there's a parting shot which is him looking out a door as the camera tracks back. That is reflective of the last shot of the entirety of Sopranos, which happens in that same restaurant, and Tony looking at the door before it cuts to black, and that's the last time you see him. So there's, I was like, okay, they're trying to do something here, but it doesn't really work, but fine. And then you've got this awfully Photoshop picture of Dickie as a sailor, which looks like it was done in about 3 minutes. It looks absolutely fucking dire at his funeral. And then and this is how it ends. He holds up, in this weird like scene, he's got an open casket. He holds his little finger up, and Tony does a little pinky promise with him. A pinky promise, and that's the end of the end of a Sopranos film. As the music to the theme tune starts coming in, and then it's like, oh, it's Tony Soprano. Cool. And that's it. And nothing happens with anything. Then you've got the credits. Then you've got this like mid-credit scene where it's like, oh, what happened to Harold then? Harold moved onto a street with a lot of white people and he's rich. The end. It's like, what?
Yeah.
The fuck?
Terrible.
What the fuck was that? What was it?
All that time building up his story.
Wasn't even building it up.
Well, no.
Harold is of nothing.
Well, that's it, because they replace him basically in the storyline with the bald bitter man with the bad back gets to do what he's meant to do. So then it's like, we'll shuffle you off here into the credits, and you get the suburban white American dream as your payoff.
Certainly. What I love as well is that Christopher comes back saying like, and that's it. And that's Tony Soprano. And he killed me. And now I'm in hell. Damn it. The end. I went to hell for that, man. I'm stuck in fucking hell, dudes. The end.
Christ.
That's what he does. He's literally like, can you believe it? I'm in hell.
I know, and I'm like, I don't know who this person is still. I've got no idea.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, who did he kill?
I'm like, oh, it's that voice from 2 hours ago.
And I'm dead. Who are you? Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think he's gonna if he like killed the kid, if he killed Christopher Moltisanti as a baby in some weird way, then you'd be like, oh fuck, that's fucked up. Killed the kid.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, this fucking guy killed me. Like, no, it's just, hey, you could have watched the Sopranos TV series. See ya.
So many things just did not make sense.
It's I tell you what, it's perfect for this podcast really, because it is very odd. It's such an odd film.
I just think these people need to go back to,
school.
I was about to say school. I was like, yeah, no, they do need to go to school.
Yeah.
It's just like basic conventions of storytelling.
Story, yeah. I cannot tell you what the story of this film is. I cannot tell you what it is. I think I go to say it and I think, okay, it's Dickie against this Harold guy, but it's not really. No, it's about Dickie and his like dad's wife, but it's not really. No, it's about Tony growing. No, it's not really about Tony growing up, though, is it? But it's like, and I'm just like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's trying to say. It's just a random bunch of. It's like,
bizarre.
Hey, did you ever wonder what happened in OG Sopranos days? I don't know, some stuff that we shot.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. It's like they took like a whole room of writers and went, "What's some scenes you might like to see?" I mean, we'd like to see. Actually, you know what? Seeing Tony and Olivia have a bit of an argument, young Tony, that'd be good. Yeah, fuck it, I'd do a scene there. What do you want to see?
Tony eating a burger
Tony and a burger, yeah.
with a side of mashed potatoes.
It's true. That's just what happens. Like, what do you want to see? Oh, I want to see like I want to see someone do some shoot someone in a car. Because that's like some real gangster shit. Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll do that. What do you want to see? Oh, I want to see like maybe it's like a wedding and everyone is there. What do you mean everyone? Like Paulie, Fat Pussy, Seal, Dickie, Junior, Johnny, Janice. They're all there. I want to see them all at this wedding because that's there's a reason why they're all together. Then, sure, let's do it. We're in. You know what I want to see? What do you want to see? I want to see that flashback we did in Sopranos when Johnny Boy got arrested. I want to see it again. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. Sure. You know what I want to see? Well, I want to see who shot Dickie Moltisanti. Okay, but it might actually be better left because it's kind of to do with Christopher's. No, I want to see it. No, you don't. It's kind of better, isn't it? That it's like it plays into the Sopranos TV, so because you don't know whether Christopher or whether Tony's done it. No. Shh. I want to know who did it, and that is of paramount importance because otherwise, I don't know why the fuck I'm watching this film if it's not going to tell me anything new.
Also, I've just discovered that Black Lives Matter, so perhaps we should have some of those in this film.
Exactly. Yeah, there's someone there going, "Excuse me, got to make it relevant." What the hell? Can't just be another mafia movie. Okay, cool. We'll have some riots in, but we won't do anything about it.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Nothing will come of it. They're just some riots and just whatever. But what do you mean? It's some riots and whatever. We've got to do more than that. Okay, fine. I tell you what, black character. He makes a lot of money and he gets really powerful. And cool. See, it's a good thing. He's a strong black character and he has his own journey. Okay, cool. So how does that fit into the film? I don't know. Jesus, do I have to think of everything? He works for Dickie. There you go. And then he doesn't. Oh, okay. So do they have like a war thing? Yeah, you sure? Kind of. I don't know. Not really. I mean, let's see where it goes and let's see where it ends up. But we haven't written an ending to this. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about it.
I can imagine someone coming in as well. I've just seen this film Fight Club. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Because you don't know if it's real or not.
Real.
He's talking to himself all along.
Yeah. They don't even make that. That's what's annoying with that thing with like, if they did that he's not real and that's supposed to be the actual reality of it, then end it on that. But you have another scene afterwards where he's back.
Yeah. But also it wouldn't matter. The whole thing doesn't matter really, does it? Because ultimately it doesn't really give you any further insight into him as a character or there's no payoff, where he's going, blah, 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 blah.
No. He just wants to like play baseball with kids or something like that.
I think they just thought this would be cool because people won't know. And it's kind of a little bit mysterious
but it's not done in a clever way.
We've done a really clever narrative device here.
It's ham-fisted because it's even if it's not real, even if it's in his head, how come the location is real?
Maybe it's not real, Sam. Maybe that's in his head as well.
But then maybe that's in his head as well, and that is fair enough. But then why do it in that way? I don't know. I'm getting myself confused. But in a sense of like, this place isn't real. Okay, this person isn't real. Okay, this person's disappeared because he's not real. Okay, but I'm still in this not real place. Okay, so where are you? I don't know. Maybe I'm just asleep or something. Who fucking knows or cares?
There was a point where I did think, is that where this is going? You know, when I said I was like, shit, there's only 10 minutes left. Are they gonna do that? He's just gonna wake up sweaty in bed and go, oh, it was all a dream.
Have we done dream sequences in the film yet? No. Well, let's just put this in and people can decide whether it's a dream or not.
I really
you
thought they were
haven't-
going to do that and then go back to the graveyard. So we're going to end on like, is it a dream? And then some voice from beyond the grave in the future is going to add an extra layer.
I'm in
of,
hell,
like,
motherfuckers. See you in hell,
God.
bitch. Christopher Moltisanti. I'm in hell.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so fucking weird.
I think I like this film even less now that we've had this
I've spoken
little
to you
chat.
about it. Yeah, that happens. I know how to kill a dream. But there are people out there who's just like, I thought this film was great. It did well. And I'm just like, what fucking film were they watching? What were they
When you say
watching?
it did well, has this been on at the cinema?
Yeah.
Wow. I just
So
assumed it was like a Netflix exclusive or something.
No, it's got like 7s out of 10 and stuff. Let's have a look. Even though this isn't really a review section, but I'm going to play the review sting.
I hate it.
I did hate it. Thank you. So the tomato meter in Rotten Tomatoes, 75% makes it a hit.
Blimey.
Audience score, 58%. Yeah, and basically a lot of people are saying the same thing. Sopranos fans would enjoy seeing younger versions of some of their favorite characters, but the story may confuse casual viewers while frustrating the faithful. And yeah, people just saying, yeah, it's really good, it's really powerful. Like,
powerful?
What? People comparing it to like Goodfellas. It's like Goodfellas. If you watch Goodfellas, and that's about a 2-hour film, literally it never fucking stops. It is like 2 hours of cocaine. It's like constant. Even there's some points where, and I know Scorsese does this a lot, where like in a 30-second section, you may have about 20 different setups that have all taken time to undo everything. This, nothing. And also with Goodfellas is that it's a story. It's a very chronological story about how he wants to become a gangster and and the journey of how he got there and the downfall thereof, where actually it's not that great. And you're kind of getting to the point where he's actually telling the story. Whereas with Christopher, it's like, I'm in hell. Stop saying that. Imagine, I was also thinking, imagine walking through that graveyard and just people constantly fucking talking. What it must be like for some ghost talkers or mediums, whatever they're called. Oh my God, ever shut up. I've heard this story about 100 times. What, they're just going to say it forever? Jeez.
I can't believe the critics have given this 75%.
They loved it. They absolutely loved it.
It just goes to show, doesn't it?
They don't know what they're talking about.
They don't know. Or they're told to say what they're meant to be talking about, blah, blah, blah.
It's ridiculous. I'm trying to find...
How can you say it was... What did you say? It was exciting?
Something powerful, someone said.
Powerful? I mean...
Yeah.
It was the most listless bag of unconnected scenes you can imagine spread across 2 hours.
I mean, Richard Roper of the Chicago Sun-Times. Go ahead, arrange a sit down. This darkly funny. There's not one fucking joke in that. An ultra-violent film perfectly depicts the 1960s times of voices that shaped Tony into a made man. Does it?
It didn't even really evoke the 60s all that much, I didn't think. I mean...
It had the production design, in a sense, like all the props, the styles and all this stuff. I was like, this is good. And they really spent some time on that. But again, they had that horrible sheen over the entire thing. Vanity Fair loved it. The creeping darkness of Many Saints of Newark has an effective build, an unnerving, pathetic portrait of past rot that would really only shift in clothing choices and locations to become the present tense of Sopranos. I don't know what that means. That might be because I'm too thick. Glenn Kenny from RogerEbert.com. He didn't like it. 2 hours of reach exceeding grasp, a jumble of moments that often only toggle between the exasperating and the repellent. Gave it 1.5 out of 4. It's a bit better, isn't it? Los Angeles Times didn't like it. The Many Saints of Newark might have played better as a limited series rather than a truncated, self-contained production with the potential for a deeper story to unfold over several impending episodes. And that's what I said. They tried to make it a fucking TV series in 2 hours, and they didn't know what they were doing, and they didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And I bet the studios came in and went, we need more Tony. And they went off and they shot more Tony stuff. And they put it in, even though it totally slowed the film down and pulled away from the story that maybe it was trying to tell at some point. But yeah, I would there's part of me that thinks I'd love to get the film and just do a re-edit and make a really tight 90-minute film out of what was there and have it build up a bit more and change a few things around, because I think it's in there and I think it could be done. And I think even if they shot a few extra scenes, they could maybe make it a bit better. But the way it is now, God, it's like a bloated corpse of an Italian woman floating in the sea. That's what he can sink apparently straight away. Just gets lost to sea. It's like when I'm watching that, I was like, I think someone doesn't know how the sea works. You don't just. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like our bodies aren't just in the surf and then just disappear under the water. They get washed up on shore. Literally, the sea pushes them. They will float and it will push them on the beach, not just fucking. It doesn't suddenly just get sucked under and disappear forever. Like it's not like they were in the middle of the fucking ocean. Or whatever.
It did look quite cool though.
I don't think. I thought it. I don't know. I think they were trying to do Dunkirk or something. I've no idea.
Dunkirk.
I don't know. They're looking at that going, that's some nice beach stuff. Let's copy some of that. Anyway, Dan, I think that's probably it for now.
I think that's a great place to end this.
Film.
Yeah. The bloated corpse of a dead woman.
Dead Italian woman as well, who maybe could sing a little bit of soprano. I don't know. That's what I got for that. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. I would say go and watch the TV series. Watch the fucking pilot twice. Do that. That's much better than watching this fucking film.
Maybe I will.
Yeah, it's worth it. Still my favorite TV series, and I think I honestly think you'd like it because it has got some bits which I think you would genuinely find really funny.
Cool. Okay. Well, maybe we could do that. Maybe I'll watch the first pilot episode and we could do a little rundown of that.
True. I cannot watch the entire series again though, having
just one
finished
episode.
it.
Just one episode.
Just warning you now. Yeah, nice. Okay, well, thanks for joining us, everyone. And yeah, peace out. See you on the next one.
Cheers, guys.
Bye. Hey guys, thank you for listening to Oddcast Movies, Music and Gaming. If you want to get in touch with us or get a movie, album or game put on our list to discuss, then email us at oddcastoddballs@gmail.com or a newwinterpodcast@gmail.com. This is part of a New Winter Podcast network, so head on over to anewwinter.net to check out our other shows. You can also follow us on Instagram at A New Winter, Twitter at A New Winter, and you can head on over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/A New Winter. Thanks for listening and see you again soon.